Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, back with another video, and in today's video, I will be going over head coaching candidates that the Washington Commanders have already put in a request to interview in the next couple of days and weeks. So, if you guys are new to my channel, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications, on the road to 3K subs. If you could, hit that sub button, I'd really appreciate it, and with that, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so far we've requested interviews with 7 head coaches, and only one head coach has requested so far. Now the reason to that being is that um, all of the head coaches all of the coaches, sorry, we've requested an interview with, their teams are in the playoffs. So the first coaches I want to get to, sorry, first head coach candidates I want to get to are Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. All these guys were requesting an interview with yesterday, besides one guy, and I'll get to him in a bit. But Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is my number one choice for our head coaching job. I love Ben Johnson. That Lions offense has been so dynamic over these past 2 years. That Lions offense is absolutely incredible. Jared Goff threw for almost 4,500 passing yards this season, and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery ran for almost 1,000 yards this season and had 1,000 scrimmage yards in total. You know how insane that is? You're a quarterback throwing for almost 4,500 yards, yet still finding ways to utilize your running backs on the ground. That's incredible, man. Ben Johnson, he's an incredible offensive coordinator for the Lions. He got offered to be a head coach last year from multiple teams, but he went back to the Lions for 1 year. I think this year is the year where he'll leave the Lions and become a head coach for a team. And hopefully it's us. Aaron Glenn, I like Aaron Glenn. I mean, he's not bad. The Lions defense certainly isn't bad. It's not the worst in the NFL. I mean, our defense was the worst in the NFL. So, you know, Aaron Glenn, he isn't that bad. The Lions defense isn't spectacular, but it isn't bad. I think he'd probably be my second or third to last choice at head coach. So I don't prefer him. I prefer Ben Johnson over Aaron Glenn, me personally. Next guy, Raheem Morris, another defensive guy. There's only really actually one defensive guy on here, and that is Ben Johnson. But let's keep moving forward. Raheem Morris, he is the assistant head coach and the defensive line coach for the Ravens. As y'all know, that Ravens D line is really freaking good. Ravens had 60 total sacks this year, and that's all. That's mostly that the reason the Ravens defense was elite was, well, obviously their players. Their players are elite, but also because of Mike Macdonald, which I'll get to in a second, because we also put in a request for him as well. But Anthony Weaver, he'd probably be my last option. You know, he seems cool. He seems like a cool guy, but you know, he's a D line assistant head coach. He probably wouldn't be bad, but as head coach, probably wouldn't hire him as a head coach. Maybe as a defensive coordinator, but probably not a head coach. Next guy on my list was, or did I say? I think that last one I was supposed to talk about Raheem Morris. So this time I'm talking about Raheem Morris. That last guy I talked about was Anthony Weaver. This guy I'm going to talk about is Raheem Morris. He's the current defensive coordinator for the Rams. The Rams made the playoffs. Over the past couple of years, 2 years really, the Rams defense has been bad. Especially this year, they've gotten way better. They were better than the year prior to that. Well, prior to this year. Their defense certainly isn't bad. It's actually top half of the league. It just isn't elite as 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, years like that. And Raheem Morris actually used to be on our coaching staff back in 2013 when we went 3-13 in that horrific year. So he used to be on our coaching staff. I hate when they show that graphic of all of our previous coaches from that 2013 coaching staff, like Bobby Slogan, Kyle Shanahan, and their success now. So I just hate that graphic, because that graphic is always shown on television, but especially when we play or teams with a head coach like one of our coaches on their staff. So, but Raheem Morris, he's cool. I think he's one of my favorite, defensive coordinator options to become our head coach. But he's in the middle of the pack for me. Like, my top 3 head coaching candidates, are Ben Johnson, Mike Macdonald, and Bobby Sloak. And let's get to Mike Macdonald right now. We requested an interview for him yesterday. That Ravens defense this past season is absolutely elite. 60 sacks, led the NFL. 31 turnovers, led the NFL. and least yards per game allowed to their opponents. Led the NFL. That Ravens defense is unbelievably good, and most of it is thanks to Mike Macdonald, their defensive coordinator. He came here in 2022. Their defense was really good in 2022 as well. He came from Michigan in 2021. That's why you see a lot of similarities between the Michigan's defense and the Ravens defense. Michigan actually won the national championship last night. And then we have Dan Quinn. Well, actually, before Dan Quinn, let's get to Jim Harbaugh, because although we haven't requested an interview with him yet, we do have interest in him, and I'm kind of surprised. A lot of people are surprised we do have interest in him, because at first it didn't seem like we were gonna have interest in him. We were gonna have interest in all these other guys I've already mentioned. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffy right now, but it seems like we weren't gonna have much interest in Harbaugh, but we in fact do, and I like Jim Harbaugh. He's obviously got a lot of experience in the NFL and college football and football itself, being a head coach. I if we hired him, I'd be pretty happy. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pretty happy. He just won a national championship last night. So, and he made the Super Bowl with the Niners back in 2013. So, 2013-2014 season. So, I would not be mad if we got Jim Harbaugh at all. Would he be my number one choice? No, but he's definitely like a top 4, top 5 choice. In my books, at least. And then Dan Quinn, I think we requested an interview with him last night, and he accepted that interview, so he will be interviewing us later on in the next couple of days or weeks. Dan Quinn, I think I'd rather have him as a defensive coordinator, but he's probably not gonna he's probably not gonna go for a defensive coordinator job because he is already a defensive coordinator. So he wouldn't be my number one, choice for head coach. My number one choice for head coach is Ben Johnson, like I've stated multiple times in this video so far. Dan Quinn thoroughly isn't mad that Dallas defense is legit, but I just wouldn't go for Dan Quinn as my number one option. And then who else? Oh yeah, Bobby Slowick. He's the last guy we requested an interview with last night. The Panthers requested an interview with him. Who else? I want to say the Chargers did as well, and the Raiders. So I was like, hey, let's request an interview with Bobby Slowick, and we did. Bobby Slowick, he's done an amazing job developing C.J. Stroud this season and taking that Texans offense to the next level. He's done an amazing job, and he's a big reason as to why, the Texans are in the playoffs because of how explosive their offense is. He is a top 3 head coaching candidate for me. Like I said, my top 3 is Ben Johnson number 1, Mike McDaniel number 2, Slowick number 3. So that is it for today's video. Tomorrow or later on today, I'll be making a general manager video of all the general managers we've requested an interview so far, and who we will be interviewing in the next couple of days, including tonight. So, hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications. On the road to 3K subs, if you could, hit that sub button. I'd really appreciate it. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.